Morning all, I have another amazing game to show you from the Skopje tournament in Yugoslavia, played in 1967. Fischer playing white against Jovan Sofrevski. He plays e4 and we see a Sicilian defense, knight f3, d6, open Sicilian, and Fischer plays the Fischer-Solzhenitsyn attack, bishop c4 system. e6, bishop drops back, bishop e7, and now we see bishop e3, so white is preparing potentially now to castle queenside. He isn't routinely casting kingside. Black castles, and the queen actually goes to e2 here. The bishop is protecting d4, which affords queen e2 if white wants to castle queenside. Queen a5, and now white does castle queenside. Knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, and it looks as though there might be a problem with d6 here in conjunction with bishop takes f6. If black ever plays e5, it's a bit of a concern for the d5 square being weakened. Here black plays bishop d7, not minding at the moment bishop takes f6 because there's always pressure on c3 potentially, which is quite annoying for white. Fischer actually tucks his king a little bit more into safety with king b1 here. Now we see rook ad8, and now curiously many players here might be tempted to push on the king side. It looks as though the queen supports, for example, aggressive moves like g4 or maybe f4 for e5, but we have a very curious move here from Fischer. I wonder if you can guess it. If I give you 10 seconds starting from now. I think the clue is it's to do with a weakness of the last move and forcing moves. So rook ad8, the last move. What would you play here as white in this position? If I give you 10 seconds starting from now. The other clue is c3. In that variation with c3, it would be nice to strengthen c3. So what would you play? Okay, a remarkably quiet but perhaps powerful move here. Queen e3 is played. Perhaps if this is not losing outright, and when I engine check this, maybe knight g4 will be good to test white if he's just going back with the queen. But black did something about this a7 pawn. If he plays a6, then actually bishop b6 is pretty nasty. It looks pretty nasty. So black played b6. So white's achieved a strengthening of c3 here. And this actually makes bishop takes f6 now much more effective than just earlier. So bishop takes f6 here. With c3 guarded, is he just going to win a pawn outright, this d6 pawn? Perhaps black should take on f6 in any case and just lose the d6 pawn. Black played a very ugly looking move here, g takes f6. Now before we get into that, let's have a look at bishop takes f6 and a possible continuation. Rook takes d6, bishop c8. Even exchanging a pair of rooks might actually favour black here. He does have the bishop here. This is just a variation example. This kind of position, where black might even have some threats now on the dark squares with the dark square bishop, shows good king safety for black and potentially some compensation for the pawn. If b takes bishop b7, and black, okay, is not doing too terribly, even though a pawn down. But in the game, we saw after bishop takes f6 perhaps an overreaction. G takes f6, perhaps not expecting this next move from Fischer, because otherwise black does have the bishop pair and more control over the centre, and perhaps can look forward to moves like this, and it will be starting to be very pleasant indeed, very solid. A bolt out of the blue now. I wonder if you can guess what Fischer played in this position to dispel all the illusions black might have had here about his position. If I give you 10 seconds starting from now. Okay. Knight d5. Wow. These forcing moves with piece sacrifices on d5, piece sacrifices on d5 are often very effective and surprising, very surprising. It's making use of a tempo gain on the queen potentially. If black plays e takes d5 here, rook takes d5, rook attacking the queen and preparing queen h6 and rook h5. So for example, b5, rook h5. I think black's best is bishop g4 here, just trying to sacrifice the piece back. So for example, queen g3, king h8, just get time to sacrifice a piece back, but it will be an utterly miserable position with white sitting on the dark squares, on the light squares rather, very comfortably. In this kind of position, white just dominates the position, a pawn up, a very miserable position, and surely a win ultimately for white. So here, after knight d5, black maybe detected a sense of danger here regarding rook h5 and queen h6 and played rook fe8. And now Fischer goes for the d6 pawn. He plays knight takes e7 and rook takes d6, preparing to immediately double, which will be a very uncomfortable pin, so black avoids that pin with rook c8. But now a double attack, queen d4, attacking d7 and f6, so losing another pawn now after queen takes f6. It doesn't look particularly good for black, the prospects here. Black actually resigned in this position. It is pretty hopeless. Okay, I just thought that's a very interesting example of the Fischer-Sölzgen attack in this 1967 tournament held in Yugoslavia. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.